So Rachel, our first question today says, how can my spouse and I reconnect? We are very emotionally distant.
I would love if there was like a simple answer. There isn't, and there is. I'll say it that way. The first thing I would say is carve out time for each other on a regular basis. When you're emotionally disconnected, a lot of times the way you're trying to reconnect is not working. A lot of times you're so desperate to be connected that you actually might push them further and further away. And so instead of doing what you're doing that isn't working, I would say stop, take a step back, and just say, let's be real. Like, let's really talk about what's going on here and create time for that. A lot of times we get disconnected because of the fact that we're not making time for each other. And it's not just like date nights. Like, it's not like big things. It's in the everyday. It's the, I actually care about what you're going through right now, and I want to know what's happening, right? It's the, whoa, hey, what's going on here? You're snapping at me and I don't get it. What's going on, right? It's the stuff that happens in the everyday that then leads to bigger things, that then leads to even bigger things. And so I would just start by asking yourself, how are you creating time for each other? How are you connecting on a daily basis? What does that look like? What doesn't that look like? What do you wish you would be doing more of? What did you do that you're not doing anymore? Because a lot of times couples, come to me and they're like, yeah, there was just this shift and I don't know what happened. And so something was working, right? Like when you first start dating, if it's not working, you're not going to keep dating the person. Like, clearly you really liked each other. You felt very connected. You got married, like you are so committed to each other. Like, you love each other. That doesn't just go away because you guys aren't feeling connected, but something happened. And so that's really important, just to kind of look big picture, what's changed, what's going on. And so I would say, like, first and foremost, make that time for each other, and take those steps to really be intentional about what that time looks like and how you're honoring that time together. Take a step back, pause what you're doing, and kind of take the big picture. If I'm on a mountain looking down, overview glance at everything, right? Just to try and figure out from your end what you think was the shift and the problem. And then ask your partner, and do you agree with that? Do you see it differently? Is there something else going on there? I would definitely, again, recommend reaching out. Please reach out. A lot of times we get couples who are unfortunately at like almost the end of their rope. And at that point, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to get you guys back to even just a place where you guys feel okay with each other, where you guys feel, comfortable enough with each other, where you feel safe enough with each other to even start having these conversations. Because so much hurt has happened, and there's so much pain, and there's so many wounds that, like, that's what we have to kind of go through before we can actually get to what happened in the first place, like the root of it. So don't wait. Like, do not wait. If you hear anything, like, do not wait to reach out, please. You're going to do yourself such a service by reaching out right now. and saying, hey, I'm noticing this disconnect. I'm not liking it. And maybe it's not as big as we think it is, but to us, it feels that way. And I don't want it to get worse. Like, that's it. That's fine. Great. We want to meet you where you're at. We want to help you. We want you guys to be successful. So reach out way sooner than you think you need help. Way sooner than you think you need help. And don't wait until you look at each other and go, we really need help. Because at that point, it's just so much bigger than it would have been at this point right now when you're asking that question, right? Like, man, I'm feeling that disconnect and I don't know what to do. And how do we find our way back to each other? Sue Johnson, Dr. Sue Johnson is someone who we study her theory, which is emotionally focused therapy. And it's geared towards couples and helping couples find their way back to each other's. And there's actually a Christian version of her book that she wrote with Dr. Kenny Sandiford, and it's called Created for Connection. And I would recommend getting that book. I would recommend go to Amazon, order it right now. You can get Prime, 2-day shipping, and start reading it. If that's you're saying like, I don't know if I'm ready to make that step in seeing someone, here's a resource then, read this book, understand each other's love languages. That can be so disconnecting because I'm loving you the way that I feel love. But that doesn't mean that that's the way you feel love. And that can actually feel like I'm not loving you and I'm not serving you and I'm not honoring you. So there are so many other resources. There's so much that you can do. But I would say those would be at least good first steps. But again, if you hear anything at all, please reach out before it becomes too big of an issue where you're going, I don't know if we're going to even be able to make it through. I promise you can. It's just going to be a lot of work, and you can start this process way sooner than you think you need to. And it's never too late, number one, and number two, it's never too early. So just reach out.